Edwin's empire lasted for many years, possibly decades. However, a hostile takeover occurred that ruined not just Edwin's empire, but his family, his friends, and everything around him, which ended up resulting in one company emerging from the debris to cause pain and suffering to everyone and everything around them. Hello everyone, my name is Noah Raven and welcome to the Xander Zone. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the hostile takeover that the Murray Costume Manor experienced and how it resulted in the building of the Fazbear Entertainment we see today, as well as the monsters it helped foster in the depths of the factory and those that were built from it. Though as always, if you enjoy this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. I won't hold you here any longer, so let's get right into the video. Edwin was given ownership of the Costume Manor from his father, in which at first, Edwin was scared to take over, but ended up doing so anyways.
Ed, honey, how are you holding up? I just heard the news.
I don't know. This is all so much. He's gone. He's gone, and now everyone is asking me what to do, and I don't know anything. I can't run a company. I'm not ready. I can't fill his shoes. He knew it. Everyone knew it. The company is going to collapse, and they're all going to hate me.
Eventually, Edwin was contracted by Fazbear Entertainment to build new Springlock suits for the company and was provided with supplies to complete the job. All Edwin had to do was finish the job and all would be well. However, Edwin would unfortunately fall behind due to multiple tragedies that struck not just him, but his company. Edwin had made a good amount of progress on some things Fazbear Entertainment contracted for him to do, such as parade floats, posters, and more. Though while setting up for Fall Fest, Fiona had a feeling in her soul that she should go while something was set up and installed. During this time, Fiona was gone for a week, but she never made it home. While at the location of Fall Fest, Fiona passed away in some form of accident.
Ed, I hope this message reaches you as soon as you get a break. I have to go help the Fall Fest crew, just for a few days until the installation is finished. It's hard to explain. I just have this terrible feeling like I need to be there so nothing goes wrong, just in case. Trisha will babysit David while I'm gone. I love you both, and I'll be back next week.
This really affected Edwin, as he has lost his wife and thus was a single father with a lot of responsibilities and no one to help support him.
Oh, why did you go? You weren't even supposed to be there. You were supposed to be here with me and David. Oh, how am I supposed to tell David that his mother is gone? How am I supposed to raise a kid on my own? His life is ruined. My life is ruined.
Until one day, while in the underground basement of the Costume Manor, Edwin heard a familiar voice. Thus, Edwin started to make the Mimic One program, a program that would mimic what it sees and hears and wanted to learn Fiona's voice and actions. So he developed the Mimic One in the same room he heard Fiona's voice, and once it was done, he searched for the frequency to find Fiona's voice. Eventually, he found the frequency, 4625. And Fiona's voice came through, and thus the Mimic One, or M1 for short, learned how to become Fiona, and thus a mother to David.
Recording? Test. Levels are good. This is where I heard it. It's her or someone that sounds like her. Set frequency to 4625. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? Over. Say something. It's me, Edwin. Over.
That's great, honey, but losing the party.
Life went well for Edwin. He was able to continue his work, got his wife back, and his son had someone to watch over him. Though one day, David died in some form of an incident near the Costume Manor. This broke Edwin's heart, and he became even more depressed and falling into madness. However, his robot wife, M1 Fiona, encouraged him to make another M1 and make it be David, so they can all be together again.
Edwin, you can't put it off any longer. You need to try again. Build another.
for the last time, no, it wouldn't be him. Oh, who am I kidding? You're not really you. I've been so stupid.
Edwin, calm down and give it some thought. Try again. Make another, and we can all be together.
All this time wasted? I should have been having fun with him, playing games and teaching him how to make things. But I didn't. You, I let a machine raise my kid. You're not real. What was I thinking?
You do not mean that. It is me. I'm Fiona.
Stop talking like her. You're not her. I never want to hear or even think about you ever again. Ever!
Edwin, however, doubted himself but tried anyways. He didn't know how he made M1 work, so he copied M1's programming to make M2.
Project update. I figured it out. There's a leak. Someone told them about M2. Well, they can't have it. Every copy has failed. I don't even know why it worked the first time. But it did. It's just not ready.
Though as you can see throughout the game, he failed many times. Until one day, it worked. M2 started to act just like David, and thus, the family was together once again. It is unknown how M2 learned of David's voice and behavior, though the only form of David we have in this game is via the cassette tapes and the films, so it would have to be from one of these two sources. Edwin decided to put M1 inside of the F10N4 machine and put her inside of the project they were building for Fazbear Entertainment. Though during all of this, he continued to neglect his project with Fazbear Entertainment, and thus, everything began to crumble. As under the grief, the pressure, and responsibility, Edwin began to lash out against his employees. Edwin was still trying his best to work on the Fazbear project, though with the influx of projects from places such as Chica's Party World, Sharpay's Salon, the Mycelium Men, and more, the employees couldn't even keep up with the projects, thus making them have to clock insane hours, to the point where 40 hours simply just isn't enough. Thus, as a result, the owner of Fazbear Entertainment, William Afton, began his takeover of the Murray Costume Manor. William had a mole within the company under the codename of Hen, short for Henry. William made a deal with Henry. Give William all the staff contact information so he can get more moles in the company, and thus Henry would get something in return. What this original deal was is unknown currently. However, as this would continue, Edwin kept descending into madness. Milton is the beginning of the connections. Milton originally worked in the incinerator and at one point reached only 40 hours of work time, which according to the database is a red flag. Though later on, Milton became what appears to be a higher up, if not the right-hand man to Edwin, updating employees on new rules, and even receiving orders from Edwin on the door code to David's birthday party room. However, Milton begins to doubt Edwin's design choices with Chica's Party World, as Milton does compliment Edwin on the success the costume has brought the company. He questions the design as it appears to be too creepy and fears it may not work with the kids.
Chica's Party World. Dear Mr. Murray, Fiona is amazing. The client is very happy with her chicken designs. Their sales are through the roof. I just wish the costume looked a little bit more like Fiona's art. I'm worried about how it will work with kids. It gives me nightmares. Milton.
This is the last we hear of Milton, and thus, since there seems to be no threat to Edwin, odds are Milton was recruited by William to Fazbear Entertainment as a result of his doubt. Edwin began to lash out at his employees for sales pitches and mistakes. One of these such pitches was from an employee named Bob. Bob started out as a sales pitcher for the company and recommended making sports costumes for schools.
Sales pitch. Mr. Murray, Bob in marketing had an amazing idea. Costumes are great for sports teams and high school pep rallies. We could almost double our sales output if we contacted schools. I will await your reply.
However, Edwin lashed out, calling the idea stupid and that sports never did anything good for him, so thus he won't do anything good for sports.
Sales pitch rejected. No, not for sports use and not for personal use either. Sports never did anything good for me, so I'm not doing anything good for sports.
Eventually, Bob was promoted to admin privileges and met Milton. Bob and his co-workers would prank Milton as Edwin reserved conference room 1 for David's birthday that sadly never happened, and thus the room remained locked. Eventually, however, a massive leak occurred, and thus everyone in the admin wing was fired, and the last we hear of Bob is him going missing in the underground section, where the ghostly Tiger Rock stalks you in the dark.
Locators. Can someone please mark where we're supposed to go down there? Bob went down and I haven't seen him in days.
Now, odds are Bob didn't make it out alive. So in this case, the employee noticing Bob's disappearance in the basement is what drove this anonymous employee to leave the company as a result of the neglect their co-workers experienced, then being recruited by William. Though what happened if Bob died? Where's his body? Well, I believe Bob died in the basement and was stuffed inside of the White Tiger suit after the leak happened, as when you look inside of White Tiger, you can see a fleshy neck within the White Tiger suit. As Bob went missing down here, was never seen again to our knowledge, and with there seeming to be a body within the White Tiger costume, I think it's safe to say that Bob is in the White Tiger suit and could be causing the ghostly aspects of this encounter with the White Tiger. Gary is another worker that would mysteriously go missing similar to Bob. However, it would have been in a more public area. Gary worked as an incinerator worker alongside Milton, Barbara, Chris, and Patrick, and one day couldn't get the incinerator up and running, and on top of that, the tubes were clogged. So, other workers went to go and fix the incinerator by finding out that the power was messed with and parts were missing. They eventually found the parts and went to fix the power to the incinerator and told Gary of this. However, when they returned, Gary was missing, and his co-workers went to check the theater for Gary, since they knew Gary really wanted the projector to work.
Theater. Has anyone seen Gary? Haven't seen Gary. I'm going to check the theater. Found some films, and I know he wanted us to get the projector up and running.
If Gary is still alive, this may be another place which William recruited Gary to Fazbear Entertainment. However, Gary's story is the most mysterious to his fate, as we never hear of where he was last seen besides in the incinerator. Though, if Gary didn't make it out alive, what happened to him? Well, as previously mentioned with Bob, he went missing and ended up in the White Tiger. So where is Gary? Well, there's only one other character in the game which isn't the mimic and seems ghostly in some way. Nightlight. Nightlight is found underneath the retail showroom, in which someone locked it in there after someone went insane, and thus Nightlight sings this song.
Lullaby and good night, with roses bed light, with lilies all spread, his baby's wee bed. Lay thee down now and rest, may thy slumber be blessed. Lay thee down now and rest, may thy slumber be blessed.
A log from the area comes from Nightlight, in which he asks for food and is very hungry.
Night shift. Hey. Hey. Is anybody up there? It's stuck down here. The elevator isn't working and I'm getting really hungry. Is anyone getting this message?
Considering Gary is our last missing person, I believe Nightlight is where Gary ends up after the power outage. Barbara is a character that begins to grow angry with Edwin over his choices for the company, as Barbara also worked at the incinerator at one point. She later began to work on the parade float projects. However, Edwin for whatever reason canceled the parade float projects when Edwin's modular discovery was groundbreaking, and is angry at Edwin for just always talking to what Barbara refers to as that thing.
Group chat 3. Why are we turning down work? The floats have been doing really well. His modular system is groundbreaking, and now he wants to shut the whole thing down? He just sits in his office talking to that thing. I have no clue what to do.
Once a doubt settles in, the charismatic William recruits Barbara onto the Fazbear team to get more information from Edwin's company. An unnamed employee that also worked in the incinerator at the time of Barbara working also expressed anger and frustration with Dollie, saying that they'll tear Dollie off her hinges, and questions how much longer they can take it at the location.
I can't take it, Barb. I swear if I hear that song one more time, I'm gonna tear that Dollie off her hinges. I have no clue how much longer I can take it here.
I think that explains for itself how William could have recruited this employee. Now, there's a character named Ralph who is quite interesting, as he only appears twice throughout the game's logs. Ralph is in a group chat with Gary and others, but later becomes a theater worker with the Springlocks and suffers a Springlock failure that sends him to the hospital.
Theater. One more injury? Ralph went to the hospital last night. That suit is going to be the death of one of us. One more injury, and I'm out of here. I mean it this time.
However, we never learn of Ralph's fate. Thus, it is reasonable to believe that he made it to the hospital and that he could have survived and thus was recruited by Fazbear Entertainment. That or this story is to tell us that another employee was recruited and thus Ralph is not our Ralph from the FNAF book the week before. The one anonymous worker tells us everything that is happening with this story. An anonymous worker tells another co-worker, Ken, to leave the company for someone else who hired extremely fast and that he would get a referral bonus if they can get more people to leave the Murray company.
Moving on. Ken, after one interview, they offered me the job. It happened so quick, no questions about my work or skills. They asked one question, when can you start? I'm gonna make double what I make here. You should come with me. And there's a referral bonus if we can get more Murray employees to jump ship.
With another anonymous worker and Stan leaving the company before things get ugly and taking all of Fiona's designs and whatever else they can. Thus, they'd be able to start their own machine shop.
We need to go. Me and Stan are out of here. It's time to jump ship before things get ugly. I have a bunch of Fiona's character patterns and Stan is taking whatever he can. Join us. With everything we know about the restaurant project, we can start our own machine shop.
Which shows another coincidence between Hen and these characters, as there's a chance they were offered a machine shop in return for whatever they could grab. This machine shop could have been Stan's budget tech from Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. In this conversation between Hen and William offers Hen a better deal if he can give William more contact information of the employees, and as a result, he'll let Hen manage one of the new franchise locations.
Staff contacts. We are almost there. I need the rest of the Murray staff contact info. The sooner the better. You get that for me and I can sweeten the deal. How would you like to manage one of the new franchise locations?
With this driving Edwin to go insane and lash out even more, firing people left and right, yell more, questioning his peers and friends, and with leaks of his work, would eventually lash out on the one thing he cared about more than anything else, his reincarnated son. Edwin, paranoid and angry at the way his father's company is now falling, along with the last-minute changes to the designs Fiona made for Fazbear Entertainment, gets furious with them too.
Test. Journal entry. I got the change order from Hen last night. None of this makes sense. I'm almost done. Why change it now? It would be so much easier to keep using the spring locks. Just hire some teens to wear the suits like we always do. What the hell was that? They treat me like some contractor to crack a whip at. Oh, Fiona was right. They don't think of me as a friend anymore. This is the last project I ever do for them.
As M2 kept mimicking David, and after many requests to stop copying David, the M2 continued to ignore the requests, and thus Edwin lashed out and dismantled M2, showing it and teaching it violence and anger.
Stop. You're not him. You're not. Stop sounding like him.
However, Edwin would continue his work while M2 was still just broken pieces torn apart. However, an explosion struck Edwin's office and emerged was M2 in the scene, though what caused this explosion is unknown. M2 now mimicked Edwin and mocked him. Now rebuilt with legs and knowledge, M2 let Edwin suffer and later returned to the factory.
Test. Journal entry. Too bad the new power test was a failure. Due to a minor detonation, there is damage to my office interior, as well as a small fire. Note to self, a portable cleaner that gets rid of smoke damage. Oh, better yet, A Cleanovac attachment.
Help! M2! Respond! Emergency! Call for help!
Daddy's busy, buddy. Why don't you go outside and play?
Please! I can't move. I can't feel my legs.
You know, speaking of legs, what do you think? I just finished mine. There are still a few kinks to work out.
I'm sorry, M2. I lost my temper. I was always gonna fix you. Please, call for help. M2, respond.
Oh, can't right now, buddy. We can do something fun tomorrow. I promise. Ask your mom if she's not busy.
M2, help.
What happens to Edwin is unknown, as his body is not seen in his office when we go there, thus leaving the factory to William Afton, as William now owns the land the factory and Edwin's home is on. Though, William promises to not touch the home Edwin's parents built.
Confidential. Software development and the entire catalog. We would love to keep you on as a lead engineer. Although we now technically own the land, we would never touch the house your parents built. We feel this offer has been more than fair, considering how far behind you are. It's just too much for you to handle alone. We are waiting for your response.
Now with Edwin's empire gone, there's one new Fazbear location that is very hard to piece together. However, it'd be none other than the location in which Charlotte Emily passes away in, as on Edwin's computer were blueprints for alternate Fazbear designs and puppet designs. The location that was built that Hen would later manage contained Freddy and his friends, with the puppet later becoming the vessel that is possessed by Charlotte Emily. The location looks like the FNAF 1 location that would later become the place Michael Afton goes to work a week after Ralph is murdered. The FNAF 1 location is a location in which Charlotte Emily passes away and possesses the puppet, giving us the origins of how Henry Emily becomes one of the most important characters within Five Nights at Freddy's, and how William becomes a madman, becoming hungry with power and gaining his egotistical behavior. So what does this theory tell us? Well, it tells us how Edwin tried making an amazing company with fun and happiness in mind. One might say where fantasy and fun come to life. However, under the pressure of the company, losing his kid and wife, constant harassment from William Afton and Fazbear Entertainment, changes in designs delaying projects, and his own employees turning on him, made him lash out and became the monster he never wished to become. Now face a reflection of himself in his own creation of M2, and letting William Afton take over Edwin's business, designs, inventions, and even land. A man that once had it all, that lost it all to a man more eager and more well thought out than Edwin ever could be. So how well do I think this theory holds up? Well, honestly, I think it's pretty solid. Characters like Bob and Gary are harder to piece together, though characters such as Barbara, Gary, Ken, and his anonymous friend, Stan, and his anonymous friend are all points in how they left the company and why. With Hen being the one to be the first to agree to William's terms that set it all off. So I'd have to give this theory an 8 out of 10, due to how a lot of the stories intertwine with similar themes, and that under this interpretation of them, it explains how Edwin went insane from having what he wanted and was fine with having, which is his robotic wife and son. Though there's some things that still need to be pieced together, such as Hen's location and other mysteries such as the puppet's blueprints. But for now, that's all we can say for sure. Alright, that is all that I have for today's episode. So of course, I want to thank everyone that's appearing on screen right now for coming on and voice acting all the logs that don't have, well, voices, because they're just text logs. It means the absolute world to me. It made this video really possible. It was absolutely so much fun, kind of in a way directing this. It's the first time I've ever really done something like this, so let me know what you all think. And of course, you can go and check out all of them in the description down below. All of their links will be posted down below and stuff like that, so make sure to go show them some love and support and tell them that I sent you. Now, there's 1 to 2 things that I want to announce. They're kind of the same thing, so I'm going to kind of group them into one. So we're gonna go a little bit into the future. July 11th, I will be doing a charity stream for Vortex 25. Vortex 25 is doing a charity event with a bunch of other creators, and it's going to be for Young Minds UK. If you don't know what Young Minds UK is, it's essentially a group of people that try to help people with mental health. And I'm really excited to be able to do it. They invited me on, and I'm honored to be able to do an opening stream for them before the main stuff happens, which I will also be appearing on the main stuff. I'm going to be appearing on the first 3 days, not for all of like the whole thing. I know for the first day I'm going to be appearing on for Repo. The second day I believe is Among Us, and the third day will be for Secret of the Mimic and Dead by Daylight. So I'm really excited for that, so make sure to go and check them out. All of their stuff will also be in the description down below, as well as a link to the live stream that I am doing. Otherwise, that's kind of about it. I do have other things planned for before then with other streams, but just keep an eye out on the community page and other social medias like Twitter, Blue Sky, Discord, Instagram, places like that, because I don't want to take away from the charity stream stuff. So yeah, that's all I really have for today. So again, thank you to absolutely everybody who appeared today. It was an absolute honor to work with all of you. It was really fun. And also thank you to Vortex 25 for inviting me on for their charity event. Make sure to check out all of them. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please do hit that like, subscribe button, as we have a goal of 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Or add a comment down below, really anything in the whole wide world. Just remember to keep it kind, calm, respectful, and that it's just a theory. Share this video with your friends and families. Every single bit helps. Without further ado, I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great day, stay safe, and peace out.